As Congress held hearings on the Wall Street meltdown this week, Senator McCain proposed that the government buy bad mortgages, and Obama went after AIG executives who splurged on an expensive spa retreat just days after their company was bailed out at the tune of $85 billion. Take a look at Obama last night.
It means that we are cracking down on CEOs and making sure that they're not getting bonuses or golden parachutes as a consequence of this package. And in fact, we just found out that AIG, a company that got a bailout, just a week after they got help, went on a $400,000 junket. And I tell you what, the Treasury should demand that money back, and those executives should be fired. But that's only step one.
Well, can the Treasury demand money back from AIG, those big executives, after they got their massages down there in California for bad behavior? U.S. Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland is a Democrat, and U.S. Congressman Chris Shays of Connecticut, he's a Republican. Both sit on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee, which has been holding hearings on the AIG bailout. Congressman Shays, can Congress actually act on something like that proposal by Senator Obama last night to grab back the cost of that spa retreat at $400,000 from AIG?
Well, we're sure going to try. I mean, give me a break. This is a really sick situation. You have these committees, these compensation committees that allow incredible bonuses. Instead of building up reserves, they were giving it out to a lot of their executives. And then to do things like this, they have no credibility, and there's no way Elijah or I want to be connected with them.
But is there any legislative way, Mr. Cummings, to try to get that money back from these guys or make them pay for their apparently $3 a minute massages, that sort of thing, that sort of luxury living, if you want to call it that?
So I agree with Chris, but let me tell you what we did. Henry Waxman and two of our colleagues immediately, as soon as we heard this information during the hearing yesterday, wrote to Secretary Paulson and said to him that he has to say that any of these companies getting help from the federal government and taxpayers, that they had to cease and desist from this type of activity. I want every single dime back, and I think that we'll find a way to get it back. By the way, the head of AIG then wrote to Secretary Paulson and let us know that he was going to take action, and he pretty much apologized for what had happened. But guess what? We just found out today they've got another one of these junkets scheduled for next week. So we've got work to do, and we're going to do our best to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Let me ask you all, now that we've got under this the punitive level, this thing that doesn't bother me a bit. Mr. Shays, first of all, you know, everybody is trying to figure this darn thing out, and I guess they're trying to figure out if it's ever going to end. Can Congress end this thing? Can you folks up on the Hill, through punitive action, through corrective steps, can you wind back the clock to a year or two ago so that we can have ourselves a credit market again in this country, a cash market?
Well, you have the Government Oversight Committee that's going to look at why this happened. You have the Financial Service Committee that's going to look to make systemic changes. But the bottom line is, can we undo what's happened the last year? I don't think so. But there's a lot of lessons that we've learned. And you know, the bottom line is we have two problems. We have a liquidity problem and we have a capital adequacy problem. And we dealt with the liquidity problem, but we took a week to get there. And I think that kind of shook the market a bit. But we still have a problem with the capital market issue. Fortunately, we did provide $250,000 for security on people's deposits at banks, because we believe we're going to have some run on some banks, and at least we lifted that level up.
Well, what are you telling people, Mr. Cummings, in your district in Maryland? I mean, they may have money in the bank, they have it in the market, they have it in 401ks. I mean, I keep watching this thing. I feel like we're the classic sort of, what is it, the frog in the pot that keeps getting up to boiling level, and it gets up a couple degrees, and you don't even notice it, and all of a sudden you're boiling. I mean, nobody's selling. Don't sell, everybody says, don't sell, stay in. And I wonder where we're all going to get. I mean, we've lost 38% of the value of the stock market this year.
What I tell my constituents is, first of all, this is America, and we will get through this. And I think, and I tell them the truth, that the fact is that deregulation and failure to regulate has been one of our major problems, and we've got to get back on that. And that's part of the reason why we're holding the hearings that we're holding. But the fact is that a lot of people are suffering the pain. And you know, I was listening to the earlier reports about last night's debate, and I hope that Mr. McCain, Senator McCain, gets it, and I don't think he does, that there are a lot of people in pain, a lot of pain, and some kind of way we got to turn this around.
What about his proposal, Mr. Cummings, to go out and buy up all the bad mortgages?
Well, it's interesting how he threw that out. He was a little late on that proposal, but as a matter of fact, Barack Obama had asked and tried to make it so that people could resolve their mortgage problems through the bankruptcy courts, and basically our friends on the other side shot that down, and it didn't, and we weren't able to get it as a part of this package. And Barack Obama has made it clear that he's going to try everything in his power, if he becomes president, to make that happen, and I'm going to support him 1,000,000%.
But, Mr. Shays, the question on the table now is put there by the candidate of the Republican Party, which is the federal government should go out and in cases where a guy or a family buys a house for $100,000 and puts $5,000 down, and all of a sudden the house value is about $85,000 or less, and they walk away from it, or they're thinking about walking away from it, the government says, no, we'll renegotiate your mortgage. You only have to owe $85,000, not $100,000, something like that. That $15,000 the government's just swallowing. We're just saying, according to the plan put forward by McCain, the government's just going to take the loss that the people are suffering.
Yeah,
do we have that kind of money in the federal treasury to just take the loss of everybody that's gotten a bad mortgage deal?
Yeah. First, Chris, people are losing sight of what we're already doing. We have FHA Secure, which is allowing people to refinance with FHA even if they had been delinquent in their past mortgage payments once the interest rate went up. And we have the other thing that took effect October 1st. We're allowing FHA to buy at the present market value any debt at 85 and set a mortgage of 85% of it. So banks can come to the FHA, give them their bad debt at the market value today. The bank has to take the hit, and then they get the value back later on when the property value goes up. This is a program that started October 1st, and it's going to impact over 500,000 homes.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We got to go, Congressman. I'm sorry. This is complicated, but I think the question is, are we going to get to the bottom of this damn thing? And I guess we're hoping we will in the next week or so.
We will.
Anyway, thank you very much, U.S. Congressman Elijah Cummings and U.S. Congressman Chris Shays.